Okay, go to the Serpent Egg series if you want to get the fullness of what we're talking about here in Ezekiel chapter 19. But I'm just going to really show you real quick just because of how it connects with what I told you, to where I said that in spirit form, these fallen beings, even the descendancy of sons of God, once they lived physical lives, they die in the flesh, they're still in spirit. Book of Enoch declares they're going to be bound here somewhere. We find out where they're bound. Chapter 19 in Ezekiel says that they are bound in the land of Egypt. Well, you connect all the other symbolism, all the other legends, all the other stories, all the other scriptures, all the other iconography, and you find out that, yeah, they're even claiming that they're underneath that pyramid. Remember what I told you about these beings from Mount Debron claiming they have some sort of underground civilization underneath the Pyramid of Giza and that they're channeling information to them? Well, that's exactly right. You know why? Because they are there. And that's exactly why they're channeling, because they're not in physical form. They're in spiritual form. The nations also heard of him. He was taken in their pit, and they brought him with chains unto the land of Egypt. Now, like I said, this is talking about these fallen sons of God, talking about these lions' whelps. Of course, that the queen of heaven is corrupting. And we see that there's multiple cycles and stages of these events that are taking place, where they're being brought multiple times and bound in the inward parts to this connection to the king of Babylon, of course we know as Apollyon, and then they have already given us a location which is underneath the Pyramid of Giza. Now they're even claiming that they're underneath the Pyramid of Giza, and here we have symbolism for a pyramid as it's associated with Apollyon. This is no accident. Some of the most profound information out on YouTube right now, plain and simple, but here, what are you guys going to do with it when it comes down to it? What you going to do with it? So this is describing where they are. If you remember what I told you about the Vril and their connection to these Aryan beings supposedly from Aldebaran, that's where they're saying they are. So they really don't got a civilization there. They are channeling these beings from their holding place where they have been bound. Now, of course, there's a living descendancy of these beings, living, that is still living, that's considered the master race. They are maintaining a super civilization underneath the hub of the North Pole. And of course, these are the beings that will come back out as the locust, hoping to eventually release these beings from underneath the pyramid, along with Apollyon, to get material bodies. And of course, this is where the DNA comes from. And then we could conveniently put DNA on this trinity, and of course it represents the 666, the carbon atom putting into material form, and then that 666 can be further translated into Vatican military and the financial district London, not just by word but by actually real action, elemental understanding, because then we can take the Vatican, call it electricity, we can take the military and call it biological, and then we can take London financial district and call it chemical, reaction, currency. And it's the same exact thing. We have the Vatican, which becomes the energy source, which conveys the energy. The financial district transfers it into the currency that now begins to animate what? The material. And in this case, the material is a brute force. It's the military. It's the anger. It's the wrath. It's the vengeance. So I can take that whole thing and break it down to the aspects and the components of a singular cell, as a singular cell is broken down into a trinity also, which is going to be electrical, chemical, biological. And then those translates back to proton, neutron, and electron. Electron, electrical, proton, protein, biological, neutron, chemical, repercussional actions. I know you probably just didn't hear the fullness of what I just said, but it's on video. Listen to it again. I assure you that I'm not playing no games. I'm not just here to hear myself talk, guys. So, nonetheless, we can see, and I'll talk more about that later, and I will. It's a part of this 5-dimensional series equation I got. Anyway, I'll be back.